All right, good morning. Last full day at Paris. Literally just right out of bed. I put on some clothes and went downstairs to get a coffee, a decaf skinny vanilla latte. You know, if you drink decaf, you're obsessed with the ritual and the process of getting coffee and maybe just the taste as well. But yeah, I miss the days of leaded coffee, of the real deal, but caffeine and I just do not get along. I think for a while I actually had like adrenal fatigue because I was drinking like 9 shots a day. And I'll tell you, when I quit, it was an awkward and terrible like 3 weeks afterwards. But my body did acclimate about 3 weeks later. So if you're looking to quit caffeine and you got a hardcore addiction, give yourself 3 weeks and you definitely will come around, but be prepared to go through some undulations and some twists and turns physically over those 3 weeks, and mentally too. But really for me, it was like just the physical component of just being tired and just a little off. I guess maybe that's mental too. Well, I guess we'll just say it's both. So it is my last full day here at Paris, and I really don't know how I feel about the place still. If I had to say yay or nay, I'd probably say yay. There are definitely pros and cons. I'm probably gonna mention that in my main video. This place is just, it's kind of boutique-y, and it's weird to say that a place this monstrous is a boutique hotel, but compared to some of the other properties in Vegas, it's pretty small, but it certainly has personality. It certainly has an experience component to it. And the restaurants, surprisingly, are really good. The Gordon Ramsay Steakhouse last night was really cool. I love the British theme. You don't see a lot of British themed restaurants. I mean, you'll see British pubs, you'll see obviously Irish pubs, but you don't really see like a lot of British themed restaurants. And because Gordon Ramsay is such a marquee and revered chef, and because he's from England, he was able to make a British themed steakhouse. The restaurant last night had red and blue decor. It had, you know, the Union Jack in there. It had a lot of British insignia, and it had some British specific dishes too. It had some of his staple dishes like his British French onion soup, which I did not get. Sodium and I don't get along either. Just like caffeine, Sodium and I kind of have like a love-hate relationship. I really wanted to get French onion soup because I love it, but I also did not want to walk around with a pumpkin face for the next 3 to 4 days. So I decided to omit that. It's the one thing I wish I could do. If I was on like a legit vacation, on a true vacation and not watching my form, I would definitely do it, but it gives me something to look forward to when I come back. And also, I think I'm gonna have my fill of sodium content today because I'm gonna get apparently the best Bloody Mary in Vegas. It's here on site, it's at Hacks, I've had it before. And I think it possibly is the best Bloody Mary in Vegas because I've had a lot of them, but by no means is it the best Bloody Mary I've ever had. The best one I've ever had is in Wisconsin at Sobelman's. Some of you OG subscribers may remember this video. It's one of the first videos I ever did. I wish I had more of my editing skills and more of my videography skills when I made that video. I guess I'll have to go back and do it again. But I'll put the link in the description below if you want to see what a monster Bloody Mary looks like and one of the best ones in the country. Go ahead and click that video. The Bloody Mary at Sobelman's was so huge that usually a family of 4 can't finish it, and no single person has ever finished it in one sitting. I was thinking last night that maybe you were thinking this. You know, why doesn't James order steaks at steakhouses? There are a couple reasons for that. Number one, over the last decade in my career, being a sales and marketing executive and entertaining a lot and traveling a lot and taking out clients, I've done so many steakhouses. I mean, almost ad nauseum. And because I've had so many of them, I'm just kind of over it at the moment. So that's really one of the main reasons. But also the other reason is because I like to explore the menu. And I like to put out like riveting and creative content. But if I go to these steakhouses and all I do is order steak, that doesn't make for very riveting content. And it doesn't make for very creative content, and it makes for really just a boring experience as well. I like to pick and choose around the menu. I like to experience new things. I'm always on the lookout for like creative and novel dishes, and a steak is a large meal. I mean, anywhere from 6 ounce on a petite filet all the way up to an 18 to 24 ounce bone-in piece of meat. And if I just order that, throw in any appetizers, there's really just one shot of just a steak. And if I did that on every video, I think my videos would get boring really quickly. So that is the true reason I'm not ordering steaks when I go to these places. Okay, night number 3 in Vegas. And as I mentioned in an earlier Travel Diaries episode, I have finally acclimated. I've finally settled in. It takes me 3 nights now pretty much on any trip, whether it's just a 2-hour flight or a 20-hour flight. It takes me about 3 days to settle in. Weird. James, why don't you gamble? Well, it's story time, and let me bring it back to my high school days. I grew up in a small town in Wisconsin. And you might ask, how small is small? Well, 2,000 people were in this town. So population 2,000, and my high school graduating class, which was the largest up until that point, still could be, I don't know, was 110 people, okay? 400 people in my high school, grades 9 through 12, 110 people in my class. I know some high schools that had 2,000 people literally in the entire high school, maybe even 2,000 in the class. So yeah, I grew up in a pretty small town. And what am I getting at? Where am I going with this? Well, there isn't a lot to do in a small town in Wisconsin. You go to the outdoors, you go in cornfields and drink. I mean, you really have to come up with a lot of creative fun outside what you can get into at school, right? Of course, you're going to have your clubs and your community and your athletic and your arts and your academics. But when you're with your friends, there is not a lot to do. You really have to make your own fun. And, you know, an idle mind can be a devil's playground. So, you know, besides just doing the tomfoolery stuff that any high schooler would do, the one thing that we had close to us was a casino. In Wisconsin, some Native American tribes were granted casino license. And I grew up next to Treasure Island Casino. For those of you that are familiar with the Wisconsin, Minneapolis, St. Paul region, Treasure Island Casino. This was about 25 minutes from my hometown. You only need to be 18 to go to Treasure Island. And what do you think my friends and I did all senior year? Yeah, we went to TI. TI is what we called it. And my game of choice was blackjack, okay, because that's the game I think you can control the most. The odds are set up against you, and this is really my main point. I'll make it right now and then get back into story time. But these Vegas casinos, these Native American casinos, any casino in general, was not built off them being charitable. It's not built off them giving away money. It is built on them being extremely lucrative and extremely profitable, and the tables being turned or biased against you. So blackjack is the one game where you can kind of control the odds a bit. It's, I think, 60-40, 55-45. I'm just using these odds very loosely, so cut me some rope. But if you know how to play basic strategy, and then if you take it up a level, where if you could do some card counting, you can kind of flip it, where maybe 51, 52, 53, maybe sometimes 55% on your side. Spent a lot of time on those card tables at a very, very young age, at 18, 19 years old, and I saw a lot of different types of people sit down next to me from all walks of life. And then as I got older and started making a little bit of money, all of a sudden gambling for 100 or 200 or 300 didn't really make sense anymore. You know, if I wanted to get $1,000 or $2,000 or buy a car or a house to save for a vacation, I just worked harder because that's something I could guarantee, right? I could guarantee my work ethic, and I could guarantee my work output, and I could guarantee my product and my service. So that was my way of gaining money. And also coming from a small town and also coming from pretty humble beginnings, luckily, thankfully, I know and knew back then the value of $1. I knew how hard it was to make one. I knew how hard I had to work to get it, how hard it was to get my first job. First job was detasseling corn, by the way, walking through cornfields at 12 years old, picking the tops off of each corn stalk in like sweltering 90-degree heat when it's super humid inside these just real moist and muggy cornfields. Yeah, 12 years old, that was my first job. And then my real first like official job was McDonald's at 16 or 17 years old, I think. And I just knew that working consistently was a much better option and avenue for getting money. So I do gamble still. I don't do the hardcore +1, +2, -1, -2, paying attention to the cards on blackjack. Frankly, I'd probably need a refresher course on basic strategy because it's been so long. But if I were to gamble today, I literally, if I put out money, I consider it gone. I don't say, okay, I'm going to put down 200 and I'm going to work it for an hour and maybe I get up to 1,000 or whatever. If I put any money on a table or in a machine, mentally it's gone because I just know that it's probably going to be gone anyway because it's so hard to walk out of the casino with money. So I detach myself from that money immediately and I look at it like an experience. I look at it like a video game and I try to have as most fun as possible. So because I'm not trying to win any money, I'm just letting Lady Luck happen. Now I typically play either slots, which is the worst way to gamble because I think they're like well, I know they're the majority, maybe 70% of a casino's profits are in slots. I think that statistic used to be true. I'd have to look it up what it is today, but easily the majority of profits come from slots. But they're fun. You sit back, you have a drink. Now they're like video games. There are games within games on slots. So that's a lot of fun for me. Or if I want to play maybe a little bit longer and I'm with a group or with a significant other or with a buddy, I'll sit down on roulette and play red, black, odd, even, high-low. Just, what is it, like 40% or 45%? It's almost 50-50, but it isn't 50-50 because you have 0 or double 0, the two green stops. But yeah, that's what I'll do. And I don't play numbers because I'm not really trying to win. Because if you try to play numbers on roulette, you can get wiped out really, really quickly. So for me, I'm just trying to enjoy my money. I'm just trying to get an experience from it if I do gamble. Today was my first day in a long time where I actually put money in a slot machine. I put $50 in the high stakes slot and I lost it within like 3 minutes. I have had luck on high stakes slots before. In fact, I think that's the best way to play slots. Typically I put in a little bit more than 50. If I am going to play, I'll put in like 100 and I'll just do the $5. Rarely will I do a $10 unless it speaks to me. What you have to do is go to the slot machine that speaks to you, right? I know this is slot 101, but you got to go to the one that draws you, whether it's name or whether it's the way that the wheels have lined up or whether it has paid recently or not. You can kind of see all this when you walk up and gauge the slot machine. But I typically will play $5 high stakes slots, put 100 in there. That gives you 20 plays. And I'm usually pretty good on it, but I'm usually probably pretty good because I only play once in a while. I think I played once last year when I was here doing all those videos, and I have played thus far once this year, so I don't play that often, and I'm probably going to keep it that way. Let me know what your thoughts are on high stakes slots. Do you play $5, $10, $25, or even $100 if you're going to play high stakes slots? And if you do gamble, what do you play? Roulette, craps, baccarat, blackjack? Let me know. See you on the next video.